Good morning, sisters and brothers. So, doing live stream messages 7 days a week does require a bit of preparation and a bit of thought. Father Chris, Father Vince, and I, we spend a not inconsiderable amount of time thinking about what we're going to say, doing research, planning, pondering, praying. A lot goes into the preparation of these videos. Now, why am I telling you that? No, I'm not looking for pity or praise. I'm just trying to give you a little backstory to help you understand what went into today's message. For I had done all of the things that I just mentioned. I had a whole message thought out, and it was going to include some scripture, it was going to include some advice and some prayer, and I was really getting to the point where it was about ready for prime time, as they say, which is what this is. And then I saw a quote this morning as I was having my coffee, and it made me take everything I had done and push it off to the side and leave it there, because this quote just struck me at a really deep level. And instead of the live stream message that I had planned, I want to do this instead. So if you'll bear with me, this one is really less prepared. So the quote is this. It's from a woman named Courtney Carver. She's a writer. Her quote is simply this: if you don't have time for things that matter, stop doing things that don't. If you don't have time for things that matter, stop doing things that don't. Wow. Now, in this COVID world, everything is, of course, different. Being a pastor is different. I find myself talking to a whole lot of people, and everyone's story is, of course, different with twists and turns, but I find that largely you can classify folks in one of two ways in the COVID world. People either have way too much time on their hands or are incredibly busy and have no time. Most people tend to fall into one of those two camps. You've either had your life upended and everything is different and you're running like a hamster on a wheel to catch up, or perhaps you're a healthcare worker or an essential worker who are putting in just gigantic amounts of effort, time, energy. Or you may be someone who had a busy and engaging life that is now put on hold because of the restrictions and because of the pandemic. So you may have been someone who spent a tremendous amount of time and energy doing things that you now can't do, and so you find yourself sort of twiddling your thumbs metaphorically. But in either case, what I find, whether people are crazy busy or have way too much time on their hands, people tend to spend a lot of time and effort and energy on the second part of that quote, the things that don't matter. If you don't have time for things that matter, stop doing things that don't matter. What am I talking about? Things like worry, things like anger, like frustration. I don't know about you, but I know I have sort of a greatest hits travelogue in my head of all the times in my life when I feel I have been wronged, when I have been treated poorly, when someone has slighted me, and that little travelogue can play at a moment's notice. That is what I'm talking about, my friends. That's the stuff that doesn't matter. Don't spend your time on things like that. Don't spend your time on old slights, on old hurts, on old worries. Don't spend your time being frustrated by what we're not able to do right now. The other thing is, don't spend your time in mindless ways. What am I saying with mindless ways? Things like television, YouTube, Facebook, social media, online shopping. How many times does the Amazon fairy drop packages at your door on a weekly basis? You know who I'm talking about. Eating or overeating, drinking, all of these things that we do mindlessly to fill that sort of void in us, whether it's we have too much time or not enough time and we're just looking for a way to decompress, we tend to do things in a very mindless fashion sometimes, and I've noticed COVID has magnified that. Stop doing the things that don't matter. Okay, Rick, you're saying that sounds great, but if I'm not doing those things, what are you going to suggest that I do? Well, let's talk about the things that do matter, my friends. What could you be spending time on? I'm a priest, so I have to say this. How about prayer? Invest a little bit more time in your prayer life, and you will find yourself transformed in so many different ways. An extra 15 minutes of prayer a day is going to center you, is going to ground you, is hopefully going to give you a broader perspective and a way to look at your world and the world with new insights. The things that matter might be things like connection. Connect with one another. What could you do if you didn't spend time binge watching something on Netflix? Take that hour and a half. I know for some of you I'm being kind, but take that hour and a half and connect with some people. Reach out. Have a phone conversation with people. Skype, Zoom, do those kinds of things. If you're comfortable doing it, go get a cup of coffee. Wrap up, sit outside with somebody, socially distanced, the whole 9 yards, but connect with someone. Get out of your own little head and your own little bubble and find a way to connect with someone, because they likely are in the same boat and it would mean a great deal to them. Love somebody. Practice love in the world. Do something for someone else. There are any number of ways to do that. I spent just a short period of time yesterday watching our Epiphany Christmas elves wrapping a mountain of gifts for a homeless family who's part of the Family Promise program. The parish stepped up in a huge, huge way. Y'all donated toys and clothes and a significant amount of money to help brighten the Christmas of other people. That's practicing love. That's practicing kindness. Be that light to the world that you would like to have shining in your life. If you don't have time for things that matter, stop doing things that don't. That's the takeaway, brothers and sisters. It's up to you to decide what matters and what doesn't matter. I can give you suggestions, but you need to take a little time and invest some energy in figuring out for yourself what are the things that matter and what don't. And which way am I going to invest my time? Points to ponder, brothers and sisters. God bless you.